coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown. And not the other color, so police.
Especially considering the fact that you're playing a policeman, which, you know, to those of us who grew up with your music seems crazy. I mean, it does seem. Did it seem weird to you?
It's a little sacrilegious.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, you know, it's acting, you know, it's not real, so I figured it was cool.
When you meet policemen or whatever you, or I don't know, did you ever have any situations where the police, because of that song, they held that against you? And
I mean, not now. You know what I mean? I have money now. Before I was broke, and it was a lot of problems with the police back then. Yeah.
But as I mean,
So give me an analysis here. How do you think President Obama's doing?
He's doing a good job. You know, he had a mess. You know, I look at it like if you cleaned out your closet. You know, you'd have to take everything out. It'd be all messy. But you start putting things back in nice and neat, working it out. I think he deserves another term. I'm behind him, and I'm.
So you think he's in mid-closet cleaning, and now if you take him out, what are you going to do? He knew where the things were going to go.
Man, everything is going to be straight, man. Let's let this man finish out his mission.
A tough job.
Tough job, you know, under tough circumstances, you know.
But you know what
I don't know
love
if another
him?
president has been handed this kind of mess.
When I got the news that my dear brother Barack Obama, President Obama, was going to put his precious hand on Martin Luther King Jr.'s Bible, I got upset. Brother Martin Luther King Jr., what would you say about the new Jim Crow? What would you say about the prison-industrial complex? What would you say about the invisibility of so many of our prisoners? So many of our incarcerated, especially when 62% of them are there for soft drugs, but not one executive of a Wall Street bank gone to jail. Not one wiretapper. Not one torture under the Bush administration. What'd you say about the drones being dropped on our precious brothers and sisters in Pakistan and Somalia and Yemen? Those are war crimes, just like war crimes in Vietnam. So as much as I'm glad that Barack Obama won, I think that Brother Mitt Romney would have been a catastrophe.
Well, I guess in the court of public opinion, I would say that people aren't buying the official story.
No, they're not. They're not. And I would place myself in that court.
What about PNAC, Project for New American Century? Dick Cheney pens a piece in September 2000 titled Rebuilding America's Defenses, and he says we need a Pearl Harbor event to catalyze the American people to invade the Middle East. We need to have a terror attack on the order of Pearl Harbor. And then Brzezinski Brzezinski goes further. He says we need a helpful Pearl Harbor event.
Yeah. Coincidence? We think not. No, it's. I think again, it's emblematic of the arrogance of this administration.
Hollywood bad boy Charlie Sheen has announced plans to donate at least $1 million to help wounded U.S. soldiers. The 46-year-old star, who famously played a soldier, Private Chris Taylor in Oliver Stone's classic 1986 war film Platoon, has pledged 1% of the profits from his new TV show Anger Management. Charlie claimed it would be an honor for him to give back to the men and women of the military who've done so much for his country.
Seriously, humble and slightly worthless. When I see the people, you know, real heroes, you know, you're sort of like thanked for giving up an hour of your time. It's ridiculous, you know. It's just crazy what these people have gone through for us, and to be part of it is an honour, you know. And Bruce Springsteen.
I was going to say
it's a double whammy. Real heroes and the boss.
Did the Bush administration gain from September 11th? Answer, yes. Did they plan it in any way or know anything about it? This seems to me extremely unlikely. I mean, for one thing, they would have been insane to try anything like that. If they had, it's almost certain that it would have leaked. You know, it's a very porous system. Secrets are very hard to keep. So something would have leaked out, very likely. And if it had, they'd all have been before firing squads, and that'd be the end of the Republican Party forever. You know, to take a chance on that, even if you could control what would, further, it was completely unpredictable what was going to happen. I mean, you couldn't predict that the plane would actually hit the World Trade Center. I mean, it happened that it did, but could easily have missed. This huge internet industry from the left trying to demonstrate, and there's books coming out, there were bestsellers in France and so on, that this was all faked and it was planned by the Bush administration and so on. If you look at the evidence, anybody who knows anything about the sciences would instantly discount that evidence. So the evidence that's been produced, in my opinion, is essentially worthless. The belief that it could have been done is so, has such low credibility that I don't really think it's serious. A large part of the left completely disagrees on this and has all kind of elaborate conspiracy theories and about how it happened and why it happened and so on. But I think they're just, first of all, I think it's completely wrong, but also I think it's diverting people away from serious issues. I mean, even if we're true, which is extremely unlikely, who cares? I mean, it doesn't have any significance. But it's a little bit like the huge energy that's put out on trying to figure out who killed John F. Kennedy. I mean, yeah, who knows? And who cares? I mean, plenty of people get killed all the time. Why does it matter that one of them happened to be John F. Kennedy?
February 15th was the single largest mobilization of people in the history of humanity, bar none.
It was the biggest demonstration coordinated in the history of the whole Earth.
Well, I've never attended anything like that demonstration in my life anywhere, because there was no such demonstration before. It was tremendously moving to be there.
All ages, all ethnicities, people from all over England. That was one of the amazing things.
Nobody could predict the size and scale of what finally took place. It amazed the organizers everywhere.
I mean, usually demos on the left, you get a handful of people there and you're huddling together for warmth, whereas this was just extraordinary. It just went on and on.
The rallies of February 15th followed the sun. They started in the South Pacific. It was Australia and New Zealand, and then it was North Asia and South Asia, and then across Russia, across into Europe and down into Africa, and finally across the pond, first to Latin America, and then finally it came to New York. I don't know how many people spoke that day, huge numbers, but some of them had an incredible impact.
We stand here because our right to dissent and our right to be participants in a true democracy has been hijacked.
I remember the great activist actor Danny Glover, who said, "We stand here on this threshold of history, and we say to the world,
not in our names, not in our names.
Not in our name." And I remember the crowd picked it up, and it was echoing.
The New York Times said that there were now two superpowers. One, of course, is the elites of the US and their military apparatus, and the other is ordinary people all around the world who oppose what they are attempting to do.
I thought that was a very shrewd comment to describe the global peace movement as a superpower, and it was true.
February 15th was a huge victory. It created an entirely new kind of movement that had never before appeared. Yes, we failed in that battle to stop a war. That was an impossible battle.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
He's the star creator of the most watched YouTube video of all time and the dance that swept the nation, Gangnam Style. Now, Korean rapper Psy is fighting off controversy. It has to do with this. In 2004, after a Korean missionary was killed in Iraq, Psy performed at a protest concert, singing along to another band song called Dear American, including these lyrics. Kill those bleeping Yankees who've been torturing Iraqi captives. Kill their daughters, mothers, daughters-in-law, and fathers. But it turns out Psy is no stranger to controversy. After 2 Korean students were killed in an accident with a U.S. tank, he performed at a concert where he smashed a model U.S. tank in response. For Psy, it's a PR nightmare. He's made millions of dollars from Gangnam Style, becoming so popular, he headlined this year's American Music Awards, made a video with Heidi Klum. He's even appeared on Ellen and The View and even The Tonight Show in front of American servicemen and women. Now he's distancing himself from the controversy, saying in a statement, "The song I was featured in from 8 years ago was part of a deeply emotional reaction to the war in Iraq and the killing of 2 Korean schoolgirls that was part of the overall anti-war sentiment shared by others around the world at that time. I will forever be sorry for any pain I've caused by those words." Now, in that apology, Psy points out that he went to school and lived in the United States, and that he understands the sacrifices American servicemen and women have made.
That's right. I'm surprised it took this long for this to come out.
Yeah.
Social
Well,
media.
apparently this has been percolating in South Korea, but it's now hitting America big time.
Muslim demonstrators with placards and anti-war slogans. One chant, British soldiers go to hell. The parade continued, but after the soldiers had passed, there were more angry scenes as the demonstrators were shouted down.
If they've got something to protest about, there's a time and a place for it. Get a petition, go to Downing Street. These guys are just doing a job for their country.
Was 9/11 an inside job?
Absolutely it was.
How do you know that?
I know that because I've researched it for 3 years. I feel like it's the most important issue to expose, especially while the Bush administration is still enacting laws and instigating, provocations around the world. They helped engineer this event, and definitely the Democrats are equally as corrupt, submissive. They completely let all of this happen. They're equally to blame that it's actually a fascist state. Because at least with Nazi Germany, it was kind of out in the open. Everyone knew that what kind of form of government they had, but here, everyone really truly believes America is the freest country in the world. So war is money. War makes money for these people, and so of course they want to continue these wars, and of course they want to continue the official story. They don't want any evidence to be uncovered about 9/11. Because that would ruin their whole system. They have everyone under this grid watching TV like zombies, believing everything they see on television, so if they let one piece of evidence slip out, that could ruin their whole grid.
That nearly 1 out of every 3 homeless people in this country is a vet. Truth be told, the way military veterans are treated in the U.S. is an absolute disgrace. Young men and women in this country join the military because they believe it's an honorable thing to serve and protect our freedoms against what they're told are legitimate threats. The majority of people willingly join simply because they don't have any other options.
Modern aerial warfare is treated like a video game. They just want to get a high score, indiscriminate killing where any excuse is looked for to provide something within the rules or close to the rules so they can start that attack.
So we're going into a second administration that is living outside the law and does not respect the law as a foundation of our system.
Unfortunately, in America, you can never say anything negative about the troops, even though they're over in a country they shouldn't be doing things where a lot of innocent civilians are getting killed. They're all valiant warriors.